guest came all the way from Australia to keep one of our finest national parks safe. He investigates a suspicious death inside Yosemite in the new Netflix limited series, Untamed. It premieres a week from tonight. Please welcome Eric Bana. All right, Eric, I hear you have, I'm just going to jump right into it. I hear you have a great relationship with your mother. All right. Is she involved in show business at all?
Hell no.
Oh.
What have you started, Anthony? What have you started?
I don't know. I started it, and I can't help it, man. They say don't feed the animal. Well, I fed a beast.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
I keep mine in a cage, unfed. Unfed.
Okay, have you ever worked with your mom before?
Have I worked with it? Well, no, I would never, invite her onto a show or anything like that. I wouldn't go that far. But we worked together when I was a kid because Mum and Dad had a clothing store. So I did actually work folding jeans in the clothing store. So technically, we did work together, yeah.
Okay, all right. You know, it reminds me of an interesting story. My father had a clothing store for plus-size women because, look at my mama, he liked plus-size women. And so when I came home from college, my father wanted me to work for him, but I know he would never pay me. So I never worked for him. So I took a job in the mall at another clothing store, and he did everything but kick me out of the house. He put a payphone in the family room. He put a lock on the television. He put a lock on the refrigerator and the freezer. He took the fuse box out of the kitchen. Everything in the kitchen was electric. He took the fuse out so I couldn't cook any food. Am I lying, Mama?
No, he ain't lying.
My parents suddenly never sounded better.
Yeah.
They never sounded better.
So I want to know, what kind of employee was young Eric?
Oh, pretty average.
Really?
Pretty average. Yeah, I'd fold some... It was in a mall, like you mentioned, so I'd fold some jeans. I'd go for a walk around the mall. There was a pet shop. I'd go and fondle a ferret. I'd go into the record store. I'd, buy a record maybe or put a lay-by on a record because I couldn't afford a record back then.
Okay.
Come back, fold a jean, go to the donut store, get some hot jam donuts.
Okay.
You know.
Was there any particular artist or record that you liked to play in the record store while you were there?
Well, I was a huge fan back then. I remember it was when the records would come out and they'd have artwork on them. So,
yeah.
It was the days of Kiss Dynasty or Olivia Newton-John. I was a huge fan of Olivia Newton-John back in the day. I mean, she was so cool and so beautiful.
Let's get physical. Yeah, I remember that video as a kid, man. I really do. My mother walked in on me once while I was remembering that video.
Damn, Andy, do you have any shame?
I do not.
Tell it all.
I do. That's my business. Can I tell my business, Mama?
Keep a secret.
I got a couple.
Well, better that than Kiss, huh? Better that than Kiss.
I mean, her posters were all over the place, and she was a huge Australian artist. I mean, did you ever get a chance to meet her?
I actually did. I was such a fan as a kid. I wrote her a letter. I wrote her a fan letter, it was 14 pages long.
Woo!
And it was handwritten, and of course I didn't know where to send it, so I hung on to this letter for years and years. And then some years later, through a mutual friend, I got to actually meet her backstage somewhere. And I got to tell her about the 14-page letter, which was very, very cool.
Can you tell us a little bit about what was in the 14-page handwritten, single-spaced letter?
It was cursive writing. I mean, I was very polite.
Okay.
I think I just rambled. I think I just shared my life with her, told her about my BMX bike, the greyhounds in the backyard, my football team. I loved her, just the usual stuff.
Okay, all right. Well, speaking of musical artists, what was your first concert?
My first concert? My first concert that I was... Actually, the first concert I was meant to go to was the Police. Early Police. And I was so excited.
Okay.
But I didn't get to go because, and this is why my mum's not in the audience, I did something a few days earlier and I got grounded for 6 months.
That sounds like a short prison sentence. What did you do to get grounded for 6 months?
Well, I snuck out of the household home, out the window when I was about 14 or 15 and went to a nightclub. And then, on the Monday, the ferret lady from the pet shop dobbed on me to my mum. said, I saw Eric in the nightclub. So I got a 6-month sentence, and then I took that to the Board of Appeal, which was my dad and my brother, and they had it reduced to, I think, 2 months, but I missed the police concert.
Oh, wow. That means never go to a club where the pet store owner is that.
Yeah.
Now,
Stay away from Ferret Lady, I say.
yeah, Ferret Lady. So how's your summer been so far?
It's been amazing, actually.
Okay.
Well, it's winter back home, but I escaped, and a buddy of mine and I just went to Europe and spent a couple of weeks riding our motorcycles around, which was pretty special. It was quite stressful because he's actually a retired Formula One driver. Mm-hmm. So trying to keep up with him, not only on the road but just everywhere, is like trying to like those guys, the pit stops in Drive to Survive on the wheeljacks. Like I'm just
Yes.
always dropping the wheeljack.
Yes.
I just can't keep up with him. It's like, but it was an amazing trip, amazing.
Now, what part of Australia are you from?
I'm from Melbourne.
Melbourne.
Yeah.
Okay.
Have you been there?
I've been to Melbourne once. I went to camel jockey riding school in Melbourne. And yet you laugh now. I did this little film called Kangaroo Jack, right?
Whoa!
So
Whoa! Kangaroo Jack Man!
yeah. So I did that. So I lived in Australia for 6 months. I lived in Sydney. But before we got to Sydney, I was going to be riding a camel for almost every day of those 6 months. So they sent Jerry O'Connell and myself to a camel jockey riding school in Melbourne for 3 days, and we learned how to ride camels.
This is not what Tourism Melbourne needs to hear, that we're known for camel riding. So I didn't even know we had camels in Melbourne. So.
I don't think you do. They were imported from someplace, but that's where the farm was.
Okay.
But we had a great time, and I loved Australia. I lived in Sydney, but I've seen parts of Sydney that people who live there will never see. Coober Pedy.
Well, at the outback.
Yeah, out in the outback. Now, Coober Pedy is a place where it gets 135, 140 degrees. It's in the middle of the country. They have underground hotels, so you stay underground because it gets so hot out there.
Yeah.
Yeah, but a beautiful countryside, beautiful place. What brought you to the States? Coming from Australia, was acting always one of your dreams and passions?
Yeah, kind of. I mean, I started out in stand-up and then did sketch comedy and then had a film come out here years ago, and things just kind of went my way, and I got some great jobs early on and never got fired, and just kept going, and I keep getting let into the country and get to work on some amazing projects, and Untamed was one of them. I got to be on a horse, not a camel, thank God.
Okay.
And absolutely loved my horse. He was fantastic.
All right, well, I'm going to give you a horse story that Glenn Turman took me on my first horse riding trip. Right after these breaks, we'll be right back with Eric Bana after this.
This park's the size of Rhode Island. It's got 5 separate highway entrances, bringing in over 100,000 people a week. So if you want to canvass, you go right ahead. Hey, boy.
You're kidding, right? This makes no sense. Why don't we just drive?
Faster this way.
Welcome back. We're here with Eric Bana. That's your show, Untamed. Now, it's a mystery, right?
Yeah, it's
Tell us about it.
murder mystery set in Yosemite National Park, and I play a ISB agent, which is kind of like the FBI of the National Park Service. They sort of sit above the rangers, and there is a body at the beginning, and we have to solve the crime. But let's be honest, it's just me having a great time on a horse in the National Park. It was the job of my life.
Well, let's talk about your horse and your love of horse. I hear you have a great bond with your horse. What was the horse's name?
His name was Pippin, and we fell in love on day one.
Okay.
And I just enjoyed him so much, and he looked after me so well. And at the end, I was like, I should take him back to Australia. I should smuggle him back to Australia. But then I realised that Johnny Depp couldn't even struggle his little dogs into the country.
Yes.
Probably not a very good idea.
All right, so I'm going to tell you my little horse story, right?
Please.
Not to make it about me, but the first time I rode a horse, that cowboy you see over there playing with the band, Glenn Turman, took me out with a bunch of his Hollywood friends who are real cowboys. We're talking about Reginald T. Dorsey, Obaba Batunde, Michael T. Williams.
Right.
They took me up on the cliffs of Griffith Park here. Now, mind you, this is my first time on horseback. And so they're taking it easy with me, and we're riding along this trail. And then all of a sudden, I don't know if it was Glenn or one of the other cowboys just say, yeah! And the horses just took off. Now, you know, horses, when they run in packs. Now, my horse was like, oh, well, hold on, my homies is gone. And so my horse just took off. I've never been on a horse before. I'm riding alongside a cliff on a trail, and I'm thinking I'm going to die. Oba Babatunde left the pack and came and found me 10 minutes later, roaming around on this horse and I walked down from the top of the mountains at at Will Rogers, or whatever. What park today? Griffin Park. Griffin Park.
Right.
Amen.
Griffith Park.
Well, Glenn, but before I let you go, when did you start riding, and how long ago was that?
I was a kid, and I was in New York. I grew up in New York City.
Police horses don't count, Glenn.
Oh, police horses don't count?
No, police horses
well, then
don't
I got
count.
nothing to tell you.
But you stayed on it. You stayed on it the whole time.
Oh, no, I stayed on it the whole time, but
That's awesome.
I really thought I was going to die. But I will tell you this, I've never been on a horse since. I'll ride the hell out of a camel, but I never got back on a horse. Now, speaking of tripping and riding things, when you first got to the States, I hear that you did some road trips and you just drove around the States for a while.
Yeah, I did. I drove around. I think I did about 5 months on my own in a car, which is a pretty stupid idea. It was back in the day, you know, like just all paper maps and no cell phones. And my parents were beside themselves. They thought I was dead every 7 days. I would sort of vaguely check in. But it was a trip of a lifetime, and I learnt a lot, survived.
Yeah, survived, learned the country. Now, was that when you first got to America, or you had been here for a while?
No, that was the first time I came here. I wasn't in the industry then. I wasn't doing anything to do with what I'm doing now. I was just a dumb young tourist, you know, looking for some things to do.
Yes, and I'm pretty sure you found them, Eric. Ladies and gentlemen, Eric Bana, Untamed premieres July 17th on Netflix. We'll be right back with Heather McMahon.
Guillermo, do you know how many subscribers we have on YouTube now?
20 million.
That's right, yeah, that's why we're wearing these glasses. Thanks for being a subscriber. If you're not, help us get to 20,000,001.